Good morning, beautiful people. It is Friday, April 3rd, 2020, or as we like to call it, a super special State of the Show, Town Hall, Feel Good Friday, Phone Extravaganza Day. Hey! That's right. We'll be giving a State of the Show. Show's good. We'll be a town hall. We want your phone calls with your questions, your ideas, your opinions, and basically your state of mind. 1-833-622-3331. We'd like you to join us. Also, it's an extravaganza because it is Feel Good Friday. We have two guests today. Hall of Famer Rod Woodson of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Baltimore Ravens, and Oakland Raiders. He just took on the Packy Hot Chip Challenge a couple days ago. He also ranked his top 5 free agent signings. We'll ask him about that. It's a phone call, not a FaceTime. Not excited about it, but he's a legend, so we'll let it pass. In a FaceTime in the first hour, we have Adrian Phillips, who is that of the New England Patriots, now formerly of the Chargers. I will ask him, does he think he missed maybe the 20-year window to get on the Patriots when they were a destiny? Now, I'm not saying, or a dynasty. I'm not saying that they won't win, but it feels like signing to the Patriots a year ago would have meant something a lot different than it is now because old Tampa Tommy came to town and took all this greatness down to Tampa Bay. We're going to have a good one today. I can't wait to hear what people say on the phones. I assume whenever you're locked up in your house arrest style, quarantine life, it's so boring, see right. So when you call in and get a chance to chat, we can't wait to hear from you. We want this to be a platform for you and also a platform for Chase Rice. Evan Foxy, please play the banger of an intro on this Feel Good Friday, super special, State of the Show, Town Hall, Feel Good Friday phone extravaganza. This is the Pat McAfee Show. Please play some Chase Rice.
It's the perfect occasion for a little vacation from the heart of the nation. Not a young medication, 2 hours of magic. Let's give it a go. Ladies and gents, it's the Pat McAfee Show.
Ha, 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 ha,
Pat McAfee Show.
Is this the... Oh, okay. What? Oh, okay. Thank you, Chase. Appreciate that. Joining me at Nick Moraldo's on the ones and twos, playing hack music in and out of the commercial breaks. Happy, super special State of the Show, Town Hall, Feel Good Friday, phone extravaganza day. Nick Moraldo.
Thank you for that. Can't wait. You guys got to bring it on the phones today. Please, please, please get it right.
Yep, I agree. At Tone Diggs is here. Happy birthday, Tone Diggs. You had a birthday earlier this
Tone.
Happy birthday, Tone. Happy birthday week, Tone. Happy birthday, Tone.
Thank you.
Way to go.
Good.
Joining us at Ty Schmidt, dressed as John Cena because WrestleMania is this weekend. He's the best of all time.
Yep, showcase the immortals. For us Cena-philes, we don't know how many more of these we're going to get, so you got to really relish every opportunity.
We honestly never know how many more days we're going to have these days.
Exactly.
Right? We never know how many more anything we're going to have these days.
We don't.
Could be done by Monday.
Could be done by Monday. This could be John Cena's last WrestleMania weekend, and he'll be taking on The Fiend Bray Wyatt. And I've never seen somebody more supportive of John Cena than the man who made an appearance on the SmackDown commercial at WrestleMania, dressed exactly how he is dressed right now in support of your guy, John Cena.
Yeah, in the last couple Manias, the booking, let's just say they've kind of been screwing Cena over. So I'd like to see a nice fair match this weekend. I mean, listen, if everything goes to plan, Cena wins very, very easily. So hopefully, we're going to get some fireworks this weekend.
Courtesy of John Cena.
Your time is up. My time is now.
Still hot, knock your shell off.
At Jason McAfee's back there. At Viva Lazito's there, looking fantastic with a cigar. At Evan Foxy repping Detroit still, even though they stink. At Boston Connor's on the phone. Speaking of stinking, 1-833-622-3331. Connor, how you feel? You feel good this morning?
I feel good this morning. I do. Today's a great day to be alive, and if you don't bring the heat on the phones, you will get
buried.
Okay, that was the man who will be answering your phone calls. He might be a little bit loud and some say obnoxious, but he brings quite a positive attitude that we really appreciate, especially on this particular Feel Good Friday, which is a holiday. And we'll get to the phone extravaganza in a moment. This morning, Rex Ryan called Amari Cooper a turd on Get Up. Rex Ryan, good friend of mine. I love Rex Ryan. Haven't talked to him, obviously, since we worked together at ESPN this past fall. Monday mornings for Get Up this past fall were me, Greeny, Dan Orlovsky, and Rex Ryan for like 10 weeks or whatever. And people are arguing that it was the best hour of television that was on television in the sports world. And then obviously, as it continued to grow through it, I got a chance to learn a lot about Rex and Dan Orlovsky and Greeny in those production meetings at like 6 a.m., 5 a.m. in the morning or whatever it was. And Rex Ryan is just his OG football guy. That's all he is. OG football guy. His dad, obviously a legend in the football game. His brother's a coach. He's a coach. Just that Ryan defense, Buddy Ryan defense, heralded way back from the Bears days and the Eagles days. I mean, it's just, this guy is in football for his entire life. The NFL and the Ryan family are synonymous with each other. He was finally on Get Up again. I'm thankful they put him on because anytime he gets on there, it gives us something to talk about. And he said that the Dallas Cowboys giving Amari Cooper a $100 million deal was stupid. He is a disappearing act. And he said, I would have never paid this turd $100 million. Instead, he said, I would have paid Dak Prescott, who deserves all of the credit, basically, for the success that your offense had last year while your team was failing. This goes into it. Now, Rex Ryan is using to choose different words, and I think Amari Cooper's a good wide receiver. I'd assume he's got some film or stats that prove otherwise. He said at the Raiders he was bad, too. I mean, Amari Cooper, I think, made an immediate impact on the Cowboys. But Rex said in big moments and big games, Amari Cooper disappears, which I didn't pay attention close enough. I didn't know the Cowboys had that many big games. They're on national television every single week. There's never a thought that they're going to go to the playoffs. Maybe this upcoming year with McCarthy, they will be, and we'll learn that. But with Amari Cooper getting paid, and Zeke getting paid, and Leo Collins getting paid, and Jarwin getting paid, and Jalen Smith getting paid, and now Alden Smith's being brought into the team, it feels like all these moves are getting made, and Dak Prescott's still sitting out there like, hey, what about me? What about me? And Dak, I'm excited to see what happens. And I'm worried that the Cowboys don't like Dak Prescott. And I'm worried for Dak Prescott because just like how Cam Newton was released after a lot of places were already filled with their starters, I would assume a lot of people would be intrigued by having Dak Prescott on their team if they were to rescind that franchise tag offer and make an offer to, let's say, Cam Newton or somebody else like along those lines, which we're not starting to pot and making things up because there's nothing else to talk about at all there. But if Dak Prescott was to just get his franchise tag pulled by the Dallas Cowboys, which has happened in the past. Happened to Josh Norman with Carolina Panthers. That's how he ended up with the Redskins. And then they signed Cam Newton for $20 million, which is at least $15 or $13 million less than what they're supposed to pay Dak. What does Dak do next year? Dak goes and takes somebody else's gig. All of a sudden now Nick Foles is in battle with Dak Prescott and Chicago Bears. Where does Dak Prescott end up at? We have no idea. These are all things that could potentially happen, and these are all storylines that we will definitely run with while there's nothing else to watch.
Yeah, I mean, so Zeke's the highest paid running back. Amari Cooper's now the second highest paid wide receiver. I believe DeMarcus Lawrence is the highest paid D end. Jalen Smith is probably one of the highest paid linebackers. And you still just don't pay Dak.
This is like the Rams. Mm-hmm. The Rams handing out all these massive contracts to people, including their quarterback, and then he couldn't pay anybody else, and then their season went to crap. Is this going to happen that you don't pay a quarterback? Huh, I'll be intrigued. Mike McCarthy over there ain't about it. No, he ain't about it. Let's get to the phones. Let's go to Mark over there in Sacramento, California. Mark, happy holiday.
Happy super special state of the show, Town Hall Feel Good Friday phone extravaganza day, boys.
Yeah! One for one, Mark. You did great there. What do you want to talk about?
Well, I got a short story to tell you, and then I know where Cam Newton's going. So October 20th, 2010, that was my 21st birthday, and I'm pretty sure we were doing the same exact things on a Wednesday night when you had your little swim over there in the canal, allegedly. But so we're always going to be connected with that, and I'll always love you for that. Either way, Cam Newton, he's going to get signed by the Baltimore Ravens.
That was the story.
They're going to cut RG3, and they're going to run the same Heisman package, but with Cam Newton back there in the backfield.
Okay.
You guys have a great day.
Thank you, Mark. You too. Have a great super special town hall state of the show, Feel Good Friday extravaganza thing. The story wasn't great, but I like that he said that his 21st birthday was the day I got in trouble too. So I respect that. We were partying together, just in different places. I ended up in jail. He probably ended up, somewhere in a good spot. But his talk about Cam Newton potentially replacing RG3 for the Heisman package up there with the Ravens. I thought about this. Why couldn't they have a Taysom Hill-like formation or tool with Cam Newton if it's a team that already has a starting quarterback, right, that didn't think that Cam Newton would be available, bring in Cam Newton as your backup quarterback, and then say, okay, Cam Newton, we know you're a freak athlete. Is there any way you would potentially do this Taysom Hill package until we find a time to either get you to play or whatever? I don't know if Cam Newton would be up for it. He's 30 years old. He's been an accomplished quarterback. But if you're Cam Newton at this point and you're staring down a lot of opportunities that doors aren't opening, is that something you would listen to if you're Cam Newton? I don't know. I think he would take it as a disrespectful shot. I think it's disrespectful that nobody signed him yet. I think Cam Newton is a guy that's going to be on a tear next year, wherever he gets back to wherever it is. And would you accept that if somebody said, hey, we're thinking about a possible Taysom Hill-like package too for you? Is there any way he would do that?
I can't see there being any way he wants to go somewhere where he's a backup or he's not getting the majority of the snaps. I just don't think he's wired that way.
I don't want to say this because I don't want to think for Cam Newton. But watching Taysom Hill play football, it's like that guy looks like he's having a blast. That guy is, right, he's returning kicks sometimes. He's throwing balls. He's running routes. He's a running back. It feels like Taysom Hill is enjoying the hell out of football because he's just playing the football. At some point, he's going to be punting for them, I assume. Taysom Hill is just doing everything down there. I would assume Cam Newton could probably do similar stuff and be a weapon for a team. But would Cam Newton ever say, yeah, I'll do that? I think he should be a starter for the Chargers. I still think that. I have no idea why it's not happening. Let's go to Jake in Oklahoma City. Jake, phone call number 2. How's it going?
Boys, happy super special state of the show, Town Hall Feel Good Friday phone extravaganza day.
Come on, Jake. Let's go. Attaboy, Jake. What's going on, pal?
Hey, so Jerry Jones is a man of giving out second chances, one too many chances with Jason Garrett. But what do you think of the Dallas Cowboys signing defensive end Aldon Smith?
I think this is the guy hasn't played in 5 years. Great call, Jake. Aldon Smith, formerly of the 49ers, his rap sheet is one that is rather long. He has 3 DUIs, 3 felony counts of possessing illegal assault weapons, an arrest on suspicion of making a bomb threat at an airport. Allegedly, he wanted to get off a plane. They said no, he couldn't get off the plane. He said, well, I have a bomb. How about that? And they said, all right, get off the plane. So he got arrested for that, for a terrorist threat, hit and run charges, and he also has a domestic violence charge in there somewhere. And he hasn't played for 5 years. When he was playing the football 5 years ago, 2015, he was very good at football. That's why all these arrests were things that everybody was like, why can't this guy just figure it out? It's like John Jones. John Jones, obviously the best fighter to ever exist if he ever wanted to be. Instead, it's all riddled with controversy with what he's done outside of the cage, whether it's arrests and DUIs or things like that, or failing tests or anything. It's like John Jones, by far most talented fighter of all time, just couldn't figure it out. Aldon Smith, it was the same story for him. One of the most talented defensive linemen to ever play the game. I think he had 19 sacks in one season back in the day. Without even playing a full 16 games, he had 19 sacks. And then he just couldn't figure it out. So Jerry Jones taking a chance or a flyer on him to bring him into the team is an interesting one. Because I understand believing in second chances, but this feels like a 7th or 8th chance for this guy. Now, the NFL is a place where the players are told to protect the shield, upstand or uphold the image that it is to be an NFL athlete. You got to do this, 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 and this. When teams give opportunities to people who make numerous mistakes, it can obviously paint the NFL in a bad light, which is why I'm intrigued by the fact that Jerry Jones, who's one of the faces and voices of the NFL, has always been this guy. Greg Hardy, he signed Greg Hardy. Pac-Man Jones, way back when nobody would sign him, he signed Pac-Man Jones. Now, granted, Pac-Man would go on to turn around his life, and I assume Jerry Jones takes a lot of credit for that, for giving him another opportunity instead of Pac-Man going out and doing elsewhere and leading a great life. Greg Hardy couldn't do it, though. Greg Hardy continued to mess up. Will Alden Smith do that? I'm not 100% sure. He still has to get cleared by the NFL, which I assume Jerry Jones has pretty good pull in. But this is all a very interesting situation, especially when your starting quarterback is still sitting out there without a long-term deal. This just seems like a bad move PR-wise and a bad move team-building-wise. But I guess we will have to see what happens in the long run.
Yeah, and they also have at the same position Randy Gregory, who they drafted a few years ago, who's been suspended multiple times. Like they're trying to fill Robert Quinn leaving with two guys who have had issues in the past but are very, very talented.
Mike McCarthy's got to figure some things out. 16 minutes after the hour, 2 phone calls in on this incredible, super special State of the Show Town Hall Feel Good Friday Phone Extravaganza Day. We can't wait to hear more from you. 1-833-622-3331. Adrian Phillips is joining us in 13 minutes. You're listening to The Pat McAfee Show. I'd also potentially taken over their 30 edibles because I thought more teammates of mine were going to want to indulge in that either before the game or after the game. And to get to London, you go through your own TSA here. The team has TSA that you have to check in. Here's my passport. The Colts already have it. They took it all from everybody. It's literally you get your bags checked and then you're through. Put them in a little thing. We're good to go. It's the team's TSA. Get on the bus, fly over there. I forgot all about them. Didn't utilize them at all because how things quickly changed.
Right.
After we lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars, we're on the team bus. They go, hey, we're going through Heathrow Airport through the real-life TSA. And at that moment, I look around. And I go, oh, no. I have some things in my bag right now that have vitamins in them. I have to get rid of them. And at that point, I'd whittled it down to like 15 of them. And I look at Vinatieri, and I'm like, buddy, not good. He's like, what are you going to do? I was like, I guess I'm just going to throw them away in here. Couldn't do that because right next to the trash can was an English police officer. So I couldn't just walk up and dump a bunch of edibles into the thing next to the guy. He's going to ask questions. We're going to the Heathrow Airport. Now I got to do what I got to do. We finally get there. Police escorts, a lot going on. So I just take down 13 edibles.
Yikes.
See you later. Vinatieri looks at me and goes, how you doing, bub? I was like, good now, but things are about to happen. He goes, I got you, little buddy. I'm like, thank you. So we go through the little check-in thing. And right before we get to the scan of the bags thing, it all hits me. I might as well have been on Cloud 45 over there in London. They check my bag, boom, boom, boom. I get selected. Something was in my bag. So now all of a sudden I'm like, oh no, did I leave a couple in there? Oh my God. Vinatieri starts walking ahead. He turns around. He's like, what's going on? I'm like, they got my bag, man. He's like, what's going on? I'm like, I have no idea. So he comes and stands with me. He's like, I got you, bub. I was like, they might got me, for real. I might be staying the night in England. They go through my bag. Turns out, had a vibrating toothbrush. Thing was vibrating in my bag.
Yep.
They're like, oh, it must have been this. Or it must have been my big-ass toothpaste because you can't fly with that. I was like, you got it, pal. I get all the way back to the plane. Lost my ticket somewhere. Somehow I don't have a ticket. So now I got to check into the gate people that I don't have a ticket. I'm like, I'm on this plane. I promise I am, but I don't have a ticket. They're like, what's your name? I'm like, Patrick McAfee. McAfee? No, yeah, whatever you want to call me. I just need a ticket. So now I have to sit there and wait as somebody brings me a ticket from the front while my entire team walks by me, knowing that I'm on Cloud 50, just having a good time. Grigson walks by, just upset, obviously. I wish he would have known that I was in a mood where he should have talked to me there. It was just a nightmare. The London trip for me from beginning to end was not good, and I think that happens for a lot of NFL players. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Sam Hunt, country musician. Body like back road. Back road. What's the rhythm? Body like a back road. Body like a back road. Great curve like the back of my hand. Yeah. Going 15 in a 30. Hold on, Carter. You almost said 60 in a 30 right there.
That's the other way. It's the other way around.
They're going slow. I actually hated him whenever I heard the lyrics because I was like, listen, we already got too many slow drivers, Sam. We don't need your handsome ass out here making it look like that's a good thing, okay? I am in a hurry. I do have places to go. This ain't a back road. Get the hell out of my way. But then you start listening to that song, and it's a banger, okay? Sam Hunt makes bangers. And I often tweeted Sam Hunt, like, hey, pal, you can't just make a couple good songs and disappear and live off of that. And he did, by the way. For a long time, like 5 years, this guy hasn't put out new music today. I just heard the second song of the album, Hard to Forget. Sounds like it's an absolute steamy flamer. I mean, that sounds like it is absolute heat. I'm happy for old Sam Hunt getting back out there. It's not like Chase Rice is making an album currently. Sam Hunt would never make an intro for free, but I'm happy that Sam Hunt made some music and got off his ass and did a little bit he used to be a quarterback.
Really?
He was a college quarterback. Yeah. South Alabama, I think. He was a quarterback. Yeah, he's a pretty good quarterback. And then he fell into the rap country thing that he was doing where he would talk some things. And I know this is what the guys normally say whenever they come up to you. He's back out there, Southside, though, on this incredible super special State of the Show, Town Hall, Feel Good Friday, Phone Extravaganza Day. Let's go to Jackson Diner in Illinois. Jackson, what's going on, pal?
Hello, Pat. And hang on a minute. Sorry.
See, that's the thing.
Jake in Iowa, what's going on, bub?
That's the thing, you know.
Hey, guys. Happy super special State of the Show, Town Hall, Feel Good Friday, Phone Extravaganza Day.
What a moment, Jake. That was good, Jake. The guy in Kansas City there in Illinois, Jackson, wanted to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs creating a dynasty. Good question, because they just signed Sammy Watkins back, and they have a lot of returning starters. Not having an offseason that's going to be good for them, bad for everybody else. But I'll tell you what, it can't stumble out the gates, especially on this big of a day. Jake in Iowa, what do you want to talk about, pal?
I mean, it's a big deal. You got to get this right. Past few callers here have been talking about elite athletes in the NFL. I just want to talk about another elite athlete in the room, actually. Tone Diggs, thinking he's about to run, walk, doing whatever he's going to do, 50 miles on the treadmill next week. Are we thinking he's actually going to go through with this?
Jake, that's a great question. And Diggs also former Division I athlete, football player like Sam Hunt. Now, Diggs on Thursday will be mounting a treadmill at some point, and then for 24 hours he will go to work on that treadmill. We heard the story of a guy named David Kilgore, who's an ultra runner who's been training his entire life to run. In 24 hours, he said he accomplished 100 miles, a run, in 17 hours, 47 minutes, and 47 seconds. He even sat down and did an interview 45 miles into that thing and then finished the last 55 miles all in one day. I thought it was a bunch of BS, honestly. I didn't think a human could do that. Then Diggs over here, who's an accounting major, a guy who used to be in the numbers world, he saw me questioning this guy, and he started taking to pen and pad and doing the math on how much he think he could accomplish. So he came into the Pod PMI, the Pod podcast that he hosts, and he said, I did the math. I think I could do 48 miles in one day. So, as with everything on the internet, whenever you say you could potentially accomplish anything, the internet and me will say, bet's good. So on Thursday, Diggs will have a treadmill, and for 24 hours, he will try to first surpass 35 miles in one day, because once he hits 35 miles, he is then eligible to get the bonus that he is up for, which is 100 miles or $100 per hour, and then that'll get doubled if he passes 40 miles. So from 35 miles, he has a chance to make money. If he hits 40 miles, it's all being doubled. So obviously, if he gets 45 miles, that is $9,000. If he hits 50 miles in 24 hours on his treadmill, that is obviously $10,000. This could be a big day for Diggs, but Diggs is the same guy who just less than a year ago tried to run a route for football and sprained his ankle and broke his foot in one particular move. He's not that fit of a guy. I think he would even admit that. He doesn't do that much other than take down White Claws, whiskeys, and hang out with his dogs and eat chicken wingies. I mean, and now on Thursday, he's going to hop on a treadmill and hopefully walk 2 marathons. And I just don't know how it's going to happen. But he is still confident, I believe.
Yeah, well, I'm confident that I'm going to try my hardest, which is a lot of people aren't confident in. But I know for the business, I'm going to try my hardest. And maybe for my pride, I'm going to try my hardest. Do I think I'm going to be able to accomplish it? No.
No, you did, though. You had math. I mean, you had the paper. You're like,
I forgot
2 miles an hour. I mean, 24 hours.
I did the math, but then when I forgot about the numbers, like when you do the numbers, you forget to calculate getting tired.
Yeah, that's that video game thing.
Forgot that.
Yeah, that's
part.
that video game thing that you guys, a lot of people live in, not just you guys. Like, oh, if he's a 99, he should be a 99 every single day. You forgot the human aspect, which Diggs, by the way, if you walk 48 miles on that treadmill on Thursday with nobody pushing you really, right? He'll just be him in a treadmill. Now, granted, there will be some games to either maybe speed up the treadmill for a little bit to punish him or slow down the treadmill a little bit and still give him mileage and stuff like that. We're going to make this a 24-hour show, obviously. But I think there's a good chance you can't move for the next 2 weeks after this.
I don't know. I've been walking my entire life.
Oh, yeah. Simple.
Also, I don't think you should downplay it. It's not just for the business. It's not just for your pride. It is for COVID-19 stay-at-home awareness.
That's right.
It is. Because even though you're home, you can still get a pump on.
It's the Tone Diggs Run for Fun, Stay at Home to the Dome COVID-19 awareness race.
Exactly. And we would like people, while he is doing this, to send in videos of them walking at home alongside Diggs, because Diggs, you never walk alone. We have to get to a break. 27 minutes after the hour, we have Adrian Phillips, Pro Bowler from the Chargers, now of the Patriots, just signed with them. We will talk to him on the other side of this break. There we go. And we'll do some YouTube questions during this break. So if you're not there right now, head there, youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show. Get in the comment section. Now, normally the YouTube comments are a despicable place on this planet Earth.
Yeah.
Saying bad things. Joe Buck said, we like Joe Buck.
Love him.
We love Joe Buck. Joe Buck loves my team.
They're coming in.
I would like everybody to get in the comment section of youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show. Submit your questions. And remember that this is a holiday. This is not a negative day in YouTube comment section. This is a holiday. This is the super special State of the Show Town Hall Feel Good Friday Extravaganza Day. And we will get to YouTube questions during the break. And Adrian Phillips on the other side. This is The Pat McAfee Show, Friday, April 3rd. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to dig deep into the annals of the YouTube comment section for YouTube questions.
YouTube questions. You got one over there? You want me to read one?
No, this is your thing, Z.
All right, Brandon Erickson said, if Pat was an NFL GM and could hire his perfect coaching staff with current coaches, who would it be?
Great question. So I'm going to go with play caller. I would like to have, give me Andy Reid. Okay, Andy Reid is definitely the play caller for me, I think. His ability to adapt over these decades and evolve as a play caller and change his offenses. Now, granted, it's all, an aggressive style of offense, West Coast offense or whatever, but his ability to adapt and relate to different generations of players while having a team that's completely stacked. I mean, that team that he has is completely stacked, and he has enough balls to go around. Now, granted, having Patrick Mahomes obviously helps. Andy Reid is going to be my play caller. Now, some people would argue Sean Payton should have been in that position. I can respect that, or maybe Kyle Shanahan. But in my eyes, I think Andy Reid is the guy right now whenever it comes to play calling. On the defensive side of the ball, of active coaches, give me Todd Bowles. Okay, he took that team from number 32 to number 5 down there with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Used to be a head coach, is used to talking to the whole team, has to coach his boys, kind of dial in a little bit. Chuck Pagano was in my head there for that decision, just strictly because if I'm the GM, I would like to have Chuck around, and that Chicago Bears defense is good. But I think Todd Bowles will be the guy. And special teams coordinator, Tom McMahon. Give me Jim Bob Cooter in there somewhere just because I want to have him around. I want to yell, Cooter, get in my office. I want that to happen, is for sure. Used to be with the Detroit Lions. I'd like to have Brant Boyer of the New York Jets, who used to be my special teams coach. I'd like to have him around somewhere. But I think those three are the mainstay. Give me Tom McMahon, Andy Reid, Todd Bowles as the three heads. And then I want Chuck Pagano as an advisor role on the defense side of the ball. I would like Jim Bob Cooter just in the building. I don't know what he's doing, but I just want him in the building somewhere. And I think Bruce Arians is probably the guy that I got up there just drinking vitamins at the top of the chart there. I don't want Bill Belichick around because he's too serious. We want to have a good time. We would like to have a good time. So I think that's it right there. Great question, though. That was a really good question. Probably one I should have thought about a little bit before I answered it, but I feel like I got it right, actually. And that's what this segment's all about, is diving deep into the YouTube comment section and answering some YouTube questions.
YouTube questions.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here on this Feel Good Friday, April 3rd, super special State of the Show Town Hall Feel Good Friday Phone Extravaganza Day. On the telly now is a man from the University of Texas. Hook 'em horns. Okay, cool. Hook 'em. Pro Bowler from the Los Angeles Chargers. Just signed with the New England Patriots. Safety, Adrian Phillips.
Yeah!
Adrian!
Yeah! Appreciate you having me on the show, man.
Adrian, I can't thank you enough for joining us. I hope life is holding up in the quarantine world. Congrats on signing with the Patriots. My question for you is, do you think you potentially missed the 20-year window of the dynasty of the New England Patriots?
No, Coach Bill is still there, so we'll be all right. It would have been great to play with Brady, though. You know, he's the GOAT. But, you know, things happen. It's a business, and it is what it is.
I've always heard and felt that if the Patriots are pursuing you in free agency, that's a massive compliment, right? I think everybody understands that if Bill Belichick and the boys up there feel as if you're somebody that they want to bring into their Patriot way, their Patriot club, that is a compliment. Whenever you were negotiating this deal with the Patriots, was it something like you understood, like, hey, I'm going into a building that is a different place than anywhere else in the NFL?
Yeah, when I was just talking to him, I could tell right off the bat that it was going to be a different environment there. And then talking to some of the players around the league that have been there and that have played for him, they just told me, make sure you're ready for it. But it's nothing that I'm not used to. So I'll be ready. I've been working hard my whole life, and I understand it might be a little different environment, but you just adapt and go with it. That's why they win.
Hell yeah. They win a lot up there. I mean, you've heard about the Patriot way. It's this legendary thing. I assume that'll continue for as long as Bill Belichick is there. I saw Slater got all jacked up because he, obviously Matthew Slater, one of the greatest special teamers of all time, a gunner. He said, my guy, Adrian Phillips, is going to be on the other side. Jake Bailey, that punter, is going to have two absolute weapons out there, and you and Slater. Are you playing punt team for them, or is the thought that you're just going to go do whatever the hell they ask you to do?
First, I'm going to do whatever the hell they ask me to, but, hopefully it involves punt because that's just how I made my stable in this league. So I can't neglect special teams because that's how I got my first start. So hopefully they'll still let me do punt. And if it's me and Slater out there, then it's about to be crazy.
I mean, good for Jake Bailey. I couldn't even fathom having you two as gunners. You have one gunner, you're going to be very good. You have two great gunners, you're probably going to lead the league. Let's talk about your time in L.A. They're going through a bit of a transition as well right now. Obviously, San Diego to Los Angeles, and then the StubHub Center, and then now Phillip Rivers is moving on. What was your time like with the Chargers? I watched a mic'd up clip. It looked like you enjoyed the hell out of yourself over there. You loved the locker room, it sounded like. What was your take on your experience with the Chargers?
It was great. The only thing I wish we would have done is probably won a little more, but just being around those group of guys and being around Phillip, who's a great competitor, and just around all that talent, that young talent that they had, it was fun. It was something new every day. You never got in the same, like, how can I say it?
Repetitive.
It was never mediocre. You never knew what to expect the next day because there's so many different attitudes, personalities, and people are so energetic, and they're going the right way right now, and they got a lot of talent over there. So I expect big things out of my boys.
Did you meet Matthew McConaughey when you were at Texas?
He talked to us. I didn't meet him personally. He kind of started coming around a lot more after I was gone. He came and talked to the team a little bit. It was right after the movie with the whole beating the chest, Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah, he kind of came out after that. Yeah.
Taking all the cocaine on.
Man, crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
He's a legendary dude. The Texas USC game was on last night, and Mac Brown showed the hype video before that. It was McConaughey and Will Ferrell going back and forth.
I remember.
Oh, it was awesome. Growing up in Texas, I assumed that was a pretty massive game. And did you know you were going to go to the University of Texas if they offered you? Is that just kind of how it is in the state of Texas if you're a good high school football?
Pretty much. If you play football in the state of Texas, you pretty much have dreams of going to play for Texas. And I have been a fan even since the Applewhite days and the Ricky Williams days. So, just watching them then and then seeing them with VY, one of the probably, to me, the greatest college quarterback ever, seeing that whole team, it was just amazing. And them being able to knock down that dynasty because everybody thought they were the greatest ever, blah, blah, blah. And we just went in there and stomped them. So it felt good.
Stomp is an interesting. I mean, it was
stomp. It's to me, it's a stomp. It's a national championship. Everybody thought we was gonna get blown out, blah blah blah, and then BY did his thing.
Did you go to a big school at high school in Texas?
I went to Garland High School. We were 5A, so it was considerably big. It wasn't as big as like Allen or DeSoto or something like that, but we definitely competed with them and we definitely beat them.
They talk about high school football in Texas being absurd. I've never been to a high school football game. Is there legit these stadiums that be like 10, 15,000, 20,000 people at high school football games in Texas, or is that all
easily?
Easy.
I don't know if did you ever go to the StubHub Stadium? Well, I think now it's called Dignity Park, the Chargers home stadium for the past 3 years.
I had never been there, but we saw it on TV. It was an away game, every game for you guys. But yeah, we did see that.
We have stadiums that size. Like, it gets crazy out there.
Varsity
Allen Stadium. If you ever get a chance, just look up Allen's football stadium. It's huge. It's a bunch of them like that.
Varsity Blues is obviously my only knowledge of high school football in Texas. It's life down there, though, huh? I mean, it is a whole different world down there when it comes to high school football.
It's religion. Like, if you don't like football in Texas, it's kind of like, what you doing living here? But it's one of those things that you start off at a young age. You start off playing at the park, and then everybody plays it year round. You know, we got basketball and track, and those are picking up as well. Those picked up a lot in the past few years, but Texas is always known for football, always and forever will be.
Are you down in Texas right now? Is that where you stay at, I assume?
Yeah, right now I'm in West Texas, Lubbock, Texas. It's where Texas Tech is. My wife, she's actually a doctor out here. She's doing her residency, so shout out to her.
Hey, big thanks to her.
Yeah,
thanks to her. Medical.
So we've been here for about, I think we're going on 6 years now. So, but I still travel out to Dallas. That's where I'm originally from. Garland is outside of Dallas.
What's the move right now in quarantine workouts and such? You just been getting after it?
I'm at home. I got a whole little at-home setup, and I go to this field probably about 3 minutes away from the crib and use their track and run out there. But, it's been a little adjustment, but, you find a way to get it.
Do you have any kids or anything like that?
You said what?
You have any kids?
Nah, no kids yet.
I guess me neither, by the way. Good for us. I guess this quarantine has been hell for the people that have kids.
Man, I've been seeing my boys and seeing people online on Twitter and Instagram. It's been kind of rough for them. It's been kind of rough. I haven't had to really deal with that.
I got some very dumb friends that are trying to teach their kids stuff, and they are not smarter than a fifth grader, dude. I got some dumb friends.
Hey, you never realize that fifth graders, they learn a lot of stuff, man. They learn a lot of stuff. I know you remember that show, Are You Smarter Than the Fifth Grader?
Oh, yeah.
Man, it's crazy stuff that they be learning. You look at that work, and it's like, hold on, why do you need to know this?
I have a couple friends that are retired, obviously, and, they have nannies or whatever, and then they have school that they send their kids to, and they've just been laid up during the day. Like they're enjoying their retirement. Like every once in a while I'll go play some pool in the basement. I'll play some video games. I'll go to work out. My lady and I will go to lunch or whatever. He's like, it's been so nice to experience. And then this quarantine comes, it's like nanny can't come over. Nanny's been locked out. My these guys' lives have become like, oh, you're full-time fathers, teachers, and husbands now at this point. It's like life just comes at you very fast when a quarantine happens.
Man, good luck to those guys. It changed up a whole lot. So hopefully we'll get off the hook soon. I don't know when that'll be. I see we just got pushed back like another month or so. So
I think
we'll see how they're looking in the month. I got a little scrub going on. I haven't even been able to get a haircut just because I haven't been around nobody.
How was the locker room in Los Angeles? Cool dudes? Who was somebody that was an underrated personality in that Chargers locker room that you never would have guessed? Or somebody that you've encountered. Maybe not just the Chargers locker room. Maybe just a player that you've encountered. You're like, I did not expect this dude to be a legend like this.
Phillip, coming from Texas, we didn't really get a whole bunch of Charger games. Like, you knew LT, Antonio, and Phillip. Those were the guys in Weddle. But you never really watched the games like that. So I would say my top two would probably be Phillip and Weddle, just because going in the locker room, seeing those guys compete and seeing how they work towards each other, it was crazy. And then Antonio, he's a great dude. He just real down to earth, real chill, like the greatest tight end ever. And he's just like another dude when you walk in the locker room and he just talked to you. He didn't have his nose up in the air or none of that. So it was cool seeing that.
Well, Adrian, I appreciate you for joining us so much. Good luck with New England. I think they got a good one. Obviously, that punter is going to be jacked. He should be. Hopefully, once we get out of this quarantine, can't wait to watch you get back to work, my friend. Thanks for joining us, man.
Man, thank you for having me. I'll be safe out there.
All right, you too. Tell your lady we said thanks for her service in the middle of this insane time to be alive right now.
I will. Appreciate you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Pro Bowler, Adrian Phillips.
Yeah.
Woo! Hey, as long as Bill's still there, he said, Connor.
Yep. I mean, we're going to lead the league in special teams. Adrian's one of the smartest players in the NFL. You heard it.
Honestly, the punter, I've never really had that moment where I found out that I was going to have everything kind of like every gunner kind of in camp kind of showed himself. I was like, here you go. Up there, they had Justin Bethel a couple years ago and Matt Slater. Yep. I mean, Belichick loves the kicking game, which, by the way, greatest coach of all time. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he's smarter than the Stooges that say the kicking game doesn't matter. Yep. I mean, there's other coaches, obviously, that love the kicking game. Lombardi. There's some others that we could name that are obviously not as smart as the people on ESPN or on the internet that, downplay the kicking game. But having two incredible gunners, if Jake Bailey can take a step into his second year here and be very good, which I think he will be able to do, you play the field position game, then you have the Bill Belichick defense. Now, you're obviously taking out the X factor of Tom Brady. Are they planning on winning games now? We're going to win this the old school way. We're going to get good field position. Our defense is going to do well. Then we're going to get this young gun from Texas, Jared Studham, and hopefully he'll be able to lead this offense down the field.
And we have a decent stable of running backs. We bring in Vitale from Packers, and we got him and Devlin as fullbacks. I mean, we might run all over the place.
You got to remember, too, Belichick is a guy that each week the game plan can be completely different. So I would assume that his strategies going into years could be completely different, too, depending on what they have available and what they have. So if we know that we can control the field position, we have two of the greatest gunners in the game right now, and we know that we're going to have a good defense regardless of losing Kyle Van Noy. Let's expect Bill Belichick's brain to be good. We have good running backs. What do we need to win this in this style of game? We don't have a lot of salary cap. Let's just load up on what we need here and go all in. I would assume Belichick's going to be able to figure it out. Still don't think you guys are going to win the AFC East, but, I mean, it's a whole different ballgame.
Bethel's still there, too. So, when you have, three great gunners, do you then put one of them, at a wing or something like that?
PP. You put one of them at PP. So then, because the PP becomes the third gunner, basically. Mm-hmm. Now, the snapper's supposed to be, but the snapper can either get knocked on his ass and has a lot of other things going on. So the PP is a headhunter to the balls. So they have, they're loaded right now. Good for them, man. But that's what you get when you have to live the Patriot way. Then you get rewarded on Sundays. Mm-hmm. You know what I like to have fun? When we're kicking somebody's ass. That's what Rich Rodriguez used to say. You know what's fun to me? Kicking somebody's ass. Hey, can we play dodgeball or something, kind of break up the monotony? Oh, would that be fun? No. Josh in South Florida. What's going on, Josh?
What's going on, Pat and the boys? I don't know if you guys know this, but today is the super special State of the Show Town Hall Feel Good Friday phone extravaganza.
Yeah! Let's go!
Yeah, man. I wanted to use this time to, the platform, to talk about my boy Joe Looney. I went to high school with him, and I've known him my whole life. He's the backup center and backup interior lineman for the Dallas Cowboys to back up Travis Frederick. He had a rough year in 2018 when he was backing up Travis, but I think this year he's going to be, ready to go. He had another year to learn under him. But the real question I had for you is, since they're not paying Dak and paying everybody else, no matter what they do, what's the chances that the Cowboys go 8-8 with Dak and without him?
100%, I think. I think they go 8-8 either way. That just seems to be what the Cowboys do. Now, earlier today, I talked about how Rex Ryan called Amari Cooper a turd, and I did not agree with Rex Ryan, obviously. I like Amari Cooper. I just found that interesting. I do respect Rex Ryan's brain, by the way. And you can knock Rex Ryan for being flamboyant and charismatic and all that stuff. He took the New York Jets with Mark Sanchez to the AFC Championship and deep into the AFC playoffs on numerous occasions while being in that AFC East, which is not an easy place to play football, obviously, because there was a dynasty happening while he was there. So I understand that a lot of people mock Rex Ryan for numerous. I mean, there's a lot of things that Rex Ryan has put out there that you can knock him for. One just crossed my mind there, and I don't have that much of a filter, but I'm just going to keep moving forward. But him saying that Amari Cooper's a turd was very interesting to me because I respect Rex Ryan's mindset. I assume because the games I see, Amari Cooper does well. They're on television a lot. Amari Cooper's making plays. Their offense, their passing offense was so successful last year. You'd assume the number one wide receiver would be a guy of importance. Paying him $100 million is a lot of money. I mean, That is a lot of money for anybody. Shout out to Amari for getting that $100 million. I want everybody to get $100 million. But without Dak Prescott being paid, you really have to wonder what the dynamic of that squad's going to be. Dak saw Ezekiel Elliott sit in Mexico for training camp last year, come back and get paid. Dak's seen all these people do all these things and get paid. And now Dak's sitting there, why am I not getting paid? I think it's going to be more of like a personality problem more so than a physical or mental problem. You know what I mean?
Well, he's the straw that stirs the drink. I mean, like, he just is. Like, who's their backup quarterback?
Kellen Moore.
No,
Is it Cooper Rush?
Yeah, it's
I
Cooper
think
Rush.
it's Cooper Rush. If he's starting next year, the Cowboys are going to go 2-14.
What if they have Cam Newton?
Then they might go 12-4.
With Mike McCarthy, Yinzer, okay? Mike McCarthy, we talked to TJ Lang and AJ Hawk yesterday during McAfee and Hawk Sports Talk, who played for Mike McCarthy. And they talked about how emotional that guy is. Like, he is a ride-the-wave emotional guy. He's from Pittsburgh. This is what's going to happen. And he's an Irish guy from Pittsburgh. That's going to happen. His night before speeches are emotional. Would he and Cam Newton get along? I'd be intrigued to find out. I think so.
Yeah, they both will win.
I think so, too. I think they would.
They both have chips.
Cam Newton out there, dude. Cowboys do not have a quarterback right now.
No.
Under contract, they do not have a QB1. Cam Newton's just sitting out there, QB1, training in Atlanta.
If they got Aldon Smith, what do you think the odds that they could go after Antonio Brown would be?
All right, that's what we're thinking. We're going to call this the Sixth Chance Squad. Okay.
Pretty good.
Antonio Brown's got to see Aldon Smith get signed, though, and get very excited.
Yeah.
Because he's on his phone. He's calling God. He's like, do you hear? They just signed that guy. Travis in Ohio, what's up, bub?
Travis.
Said he
was gentlemen, Merry Super Special State of the Union Show, Town Hall, Feel Good Friday, Phone Extravaganza Day.
Hey, love what you did there, Travis. We were debating on whether it was a merry holiday or a happy holiday. I'm happy you went with merry so we could hear that one time for the good time.
So my ideal scenario is a lifelong Bengals fan.
Oh.
The Bengals pick up Cam Newton to start with. That frees up your number one pick. Take Chase Young from Ohio State. Then you sign Antonio Brown. That puts Antonio Brown on one side, A.J. Green on the other side, and Cam Newton slanging the rock to both of them.
Travis just fixed the Cincinnati Bengals. Because you get a once-in-a-generation potential player in Chase Young, which is what everybody's calling on the defense side of the ball. You get Cam Newton, a quarterback, Antonio Brown and A.J. Green on the outside. Are the Bengals all of a sudden the favorite in the AFC North? Nobody knows what the Browns are going to do. Big Ben's back, but is he really? He's training for the first time in the history of an offseason. That might not be good, by the way. And the Baltimore Ravens lost Marshall Yonda. Did that guy just fix the Cincinnati Bengals? He did, and because that makes too much sense, there's zero chance the Bengals do that. Zero chance. That'd be wild, though. That would be absolutely wild if they bring. Why not, by the way?
Bengals, I mean, they had perfect for years. Might as well bring AB in.
What if Cam Newton says, nah, I'll play anywhere, the Cincinnati Bengals, but Cincinnati. The Detroit Lions, but Detroit. I'll play for the Houston Roughnecks.
Yeah.
No, I think Cam Newton. That'd be because Cincinnati, the Bengals have diehard fans.
Yeah.
Nobody knows why. Nobody knows why. The people of Cincinnati, who they say go beat them Bengals? Who they? And a lot of people did. A lot of people said it, and a lot of people did it. We they used to say. Now it's just expected. They don't even say who they anymore. They say who's next? Who's next? Who's next to beat the Bengals? I think they're going to do it. They bring in Cam Newton. That's electric. Now, I think Andy Dalton's still a good player, by the way. You give Andy Dalton maybe Antonio Brown, A.J. Green. Maybe that'll help out the kid. Maybe that'll help out the ginger from TCU.
Would you rather have Cam Newton or Joe Burrow?
Me?
Don't say it.
Say it.
Don't say it.
Say it.
I'd rather have Joe Burrow's contract for Cam Newton. Can I say that?
Yeah, you can.
I like Joe Burrow. But I think Cam Newton is on a revenge body type run right now. You want to get that when you can get that because it's not going to happen all the time. We're back on the other side for another great hour. This is the Pat McAfee Show.
I think everyone always wanted to know who's responsible for the dynasty in New England. Was it Bill Belichick or was it Tom Brady? And we're going to get a glimpse of that this year.
What do you think?
Listen, man, it's both of them. I can't. It's everybody asks me all the time. It's hard for me to separate the two. Bill developed Tom, but Tom played the game at the highest of levels. You saw it up close and personal, Pat. The way this dude, especially in crunch time play, being in that huddle with him, I knew we were going to win. I knew every time I stepped on the field with Tom, we were going to win because we were more prepared and we had a guy quarterback who just had a killer instinct.
That's what everybody thought, by the way, whenever he got on that field in the playoffs with, a minute 20 left or something like that, down whatever it was. And it ended up being a pick six as his last play ever as a New England Patriot. Ever.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of conversation of he will not let the pick six be his last play as a Patriot or whatever, or anything like that. I think he was moved on from the Patriots. I don't want to say that he wasn't giving his best effort last year because I think he was. Tom Brady's a competitor. There's no way he's not going to go out and show out whenever he's on the field. That's just because he views himself as a sixth-rounder. I think he was mentally preparing that this was his last season as a Patriot in the middle of the season. Now, he said it didn't happen until after his visit with Kraft. Do you view that the same way? I think this was kind of like, I'm getting the hell out of here. I got to go see if the grass is truly greener somewhere else after this.
Absolutely. Pat, you got to understand the last deal that he did, he put in his contract that he couldn't be tagged. He couldn't be tagged again. So if you put that in your contract, aren't you already kind of thinking ahead like, all right, I'm putting the expiration date on the Patriots, and I'm looking forward to something else after my time with the Patriots. So I agree with you, man. I think during, even before last season, I think his mind was already set on, you know what? It's been great. It's time for me to move on.
I think so, too.
In the following weeks, there will be various. Pat, are you wearing pants or are you just wearing shorts? Because I'm concerned that it's a. All right, you have shorts on. Look, with you, I don't know. I just want to make sure you have some kind of pants on.
I was on television. I forget. It was ESPN or something like that. And I got a text from Stephanie McMahon that said, "Are you wearing pants right now?" And it was jeans. I was wearing jeans. And she was almost like offended that I was wearing jeans. She was like, I thought you only wear jorts. I was like, so that's on me.
I didn't even know that you owned long pants, actually.
It was cold. It was cold. I was soft. I had to put the pants on. That's on me. But next couple of weeks.
There's a joke there, but it's a family show.
It's not, actually. But yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
What you're seeing here is once upon a time sure-footed NFL punter Pat McAfee attempt the impossible. It's a long way up there, McAfee, all the way to the top rope. Are you kidding me? Here comes disaster. There is no way. Oh my God, Stone Cold in the background looking on. How on earth did this idiot pull this off? Picture perfect moonsault. Well done, McAfee, you didn't die. Okay, this is too far. Pat, calm down.
Let's get it. Let's go. Dream house is a tour bus. Scream loud that you knew us. Deep down, I'm the new plug. You ain't about to get too dust. Pete's brown when they crew scrubs. Sweet sound from the two subs. Beats loud as a move, bruh. Lead the crowd like, ooh, what? Long hair on the big body. 210s, both sitting shoddy. Cracking fits, start getting rowdy. Blowing nose, looking like an Audi. It's Uncle Sam without the taxes. Crowd stands up, I keep them loud. I made this beat, you hear it smacking? Who is 30? Hand me a nap. You probably wasn't expecting this. What? Expected this? Why?
One fucking page.
I don't have to worry about the coronavirus anymore. Like a fucking bomb went off. It's like, dude, I saw there's the fucking net. Oh, dude, what's going on?
Everyone's a comedian, all right? Steve Jobs used to dip his feet in toilet water randomly.
I bet they still smelled better than yours. Dude. You're a woman. Are you? You're a
see
dame?
Tony's brain cells just exploding into thin air.
Do you think that steer ever looks back at you and goes, son of a
Is that when you
bitch,
tie
I
the
got
legs?
big
Right
one.
after?
I'm sold. I'm in. He got me.
Suck it, all you guys.
James, duty match.
These guys got in there, undid their suitcases, and just dumped all their clothes.
Well, you have to remember.
Well, yeah, not for me.
Jesus.
son of a bitch. Can I not get the alcoholic Cowboys?
And, babe, it's time to go to war.
Welcome to the pod.
It's the perfect occasion for a mental vacation from the heart of the nation. Not your medication, 2 hours of magic. Let's give it a go. Ladies and gents, it's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show.
Welcome back to Pat McAfee Show. It is super special State of the Show Town Hall Feel Good Friday Phone Extravaganza Day, Friday, April 3rd. We can't thank you enough for joining us 1 minute after the hour here in the second hour of this show. Joining me at Nick Moraldo, at Tone Diggs. Ty Schmidt is here as John Cena because WrestleMania is this weekend. Too big for just one night. Ain't that right, Ty?
That is right. Showcase the Immortals. Never a better time to dive into some Mania action than this weekend.
2 3-hour shows, I believe, is what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think dump them out works.
The matches. Dump them all out.
Oh, the matches. Dump out the matches. 2-night spectacle.
Dump them out.
Too big for just one night. Dump them out.
Too
the
big.
matches. Saturday.
Dump 'em out.
At Jason McAfee. That's at Viva Lazito being a parrot, just repeating things that he hears on a regular basis. At Evan Foxy. And on the phones at Boston Connor, 1-833-622-3331. Chase Rice was just, when's Chase Rice coming on the show? Asked Mitchell Holiday in the YouTube stream. He was supposed to come on last Friday. I forgot. I don't know if we'll ever get him back. Let's go to Dylan in Pittsburgh. Dylan, what's going on, pal?
Hey, Pat, what's up, boys? Pat?
He's in Pittsburgh. He's in Pittsburgh. I don't know what to do.
He knew it, but I
It's
didn't know
not
what to
surprising.
tell
Yeah, but I don't know what to
Hey,
do.
Pat.
Yeah, Dylan, what's up, bub?
Hey, Pat. What's up, boys? Happy super special State of the Show Town Hall.
Dylan, I just couldn't. I wanted to. Pittsburgh had a big day yesterday.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Pittsburgh had a massive day yesterday. UPMC, University of Pittsburgh Medical Center.
Yep.
Has potentially found a vaccine that could cure COVID-19. They tested it on the mice. After 2 weeks, they said it got down. So now that'll move to human trials. And UPMC announced this just yesterday. Pittsburgh got put on the map. By the way, for those that don't know much about Pittsburgh, this is what you need to know. The Penguins, greatest hockey team to ever exist. That's why Pittsburgh is also called Hockey Town.
That's their, every time they score a goal, that noise comes on.
Yeah, that's what
Thanks, Foxy.
Because that's what they do. They score goals. Unlike the old Hockey Town. Hockey Town is the home of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Penguins.
Whoa.
Oh.
That's on the complete flip side, the Pittsburgh Pirates, one of the worst franchises in the history of professional sports. You might think of the Knicks or something along those lines, maybe the Sacramento Kings, these other irrelevant sports teams that are professional in bigger cities. The Pittsburgh Pirates are one of the most inept organizations in the history of Earth. Pittsburgh Steelers, obviously, the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're loved everywhere. Every single city in America that is notable has a Pittsburgh Steelers bar in it, right? So they're just, the Pittsburgh Steelers are big. Yinzers are a group that are hardworking. They enjoy partying and having a good time, and they enjoy good people. And also, the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center, a very, very, very talented place for medical minds. Not only is it Children's Hospital there, very good, but this UPMC now getting put on the map for its good medical minds and potentially having the vaccine for COVID-19. Shout out to the 412 getting that done.
Yeah, it also cured SARS and polio. So
Shout out Jonas Salk.
Yeah, shout out Jonas Salk.
So it's kind of just what we do.
Shout out to Dwight D. Eisenhower too, for sure. Thomas Jefferson as well gets it.
Yep.
George Washington.
Wow.
George Washington, not good.
Jefferson.
Alexander Hamilton.
Alexander Hamilton, obviously, kind of cheated on his wife, got run out of town a little bit.
Everyone's got skeletons. Everyone's got skeletons.
Franklin. I mean, we turned it
He has a lot of skills.
What did Jonas Ark do?
Jonas Salk was a researcher at the University of Pittsburgh, came up with the polio vaccine.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
So this is what the University of Pittsburgh does.
That's what we do.
That's what we do.
I don't especially love the University of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Diggs, you didn't go to school there. You can't say we.
I went there.
Like you walk through the property?
No, I lived there for 28 years of my life. So.
Oh, the city.
Shout out.
You lived at Pittsburgh.
How many miles did you walk there?
What do you mean?
Not enough. Josh in Michigan, what's going on? Talk about your Thursday fail.
Millions.
I would like it to be
Hey, guys, I
known.
hope you-
Hey, Josh, I'm sorry. Hold on one second. I would like it to be known publicly that I sent a message to the entire company informing everybody that if Diggs does not want to do this treadmill thing due to whatever health complications he could potentially face, I am completely okay with it. I think everybody would be understanding. Everybody was like, okay, sounds good. And then Diggs came in underneath that message and was like, I want to do it. So this is all on Diggs, by the way. This is not being forced into doing this, right?
Correct, 1,000%.
That sounded like a terrorist video there where they're like forced to say things. And
It did.
I just want to let you know.
It's for the betterment of the company.
Attaboy. I respect that. Josh in Michigan. Let's talk about Michigan State and whatever else you'd like to talk about up there, Josh.
All right, first things first, guys. Let's have a fulfilling, super special day of the show. Town Hall Feel Good Friday Phone Extravaganza.
Good start. You nailed it. All right, go ahead.
Also, first-time caller, long-time viewer, huge fan, guys. Also, AJ Hawk, your show is gold. What I want to talk about is what are your thoughts on the college football
Thanks,
coming
Mom.
out recently, and they're playing with COVID-19. So there's been a few things like OTAs and also possibly a 9-game season. I just want to get your take on that.
I'm going to be 100%. I didn't really listen to your
Not a word.
We were too busy firing down the rest of the room. I am so sorry. Yeah, with COVID-19 potentially influencing the NFL season, how it would affect it? Is that what you said?
Well, the college football, because they came out the last 2 days with plans and like even 180 going, if we don't have a season, we're totally fornicated.
Oh, yeah, of course. Especially, this is a good time to get to this thing that we talked about. The LSU academia has released the amount of money that has been made by all of its sports. Not they, I guess some guy that worked there released the 2016 or 2017 numbers? Yeah, 2016, 2017 cycle. When you hear things from athletic directors like football allows us to have other sports, this is what they mean. In 2016 to 2017, the LSU football team profited $56.097 million. Okay? $56 million that football team generated for Louisiana State University. The men's basketball team made $1.619 million. The baseball team made $569,000. And then every other sport in LSU's catalog lost money. Gymnastics, softball, women's basketball, women's track and field, men's golf, women's golf, volleyball, women's soccer, men's tennis, beach volleyball. Cost $704,000. Women's tennis, women's swimming, men's swimming, the list goes on. And I understand how you could flip this into saying, well, it's impossible to pay college student human athletes because of all of the sports that are losing money. And that's an interesting way to look at it, and I can understand that argument. The way I look at it, though, is that football team made $56 million for that school, and their players saw $0 out of it. That is wild. But it's not fair to pay the players because we don't make money. Well, who's it not fair for? Who's it not fair for? the football team that is making the money for every human? Are the football players that are out there potentially catching CTE and potential shoulder injuries for the rest of their lives and putting their lives on hold when it comes to everything else for LSU, making $56 million, winning football games? I couldn't even imagine what they made this last year, winning the national championship, probably $70 million, $80 million, and none of the players could see a single dollar because all these other sports stink at marketing themselves.
Well, you don't see anyone saying, oh, that's not fair that Coach O just got a massive contract due in part to this, and, we don't need to go into his personal life. But
his ex-wife now.
Yeah.
What I saw from this, LSU's a premier team that where everyone shows up to all the games. What happens to D1 schools like Pitt where 17 people show up to the games? Are they just
They have to be tame.
Hemorrhaging money?
Well, I don't know, because the ACC probably pays them.
For the TV rights and stuff.
The networks
You're
pay
right.
them, right? So, there's money coming even to these schools.
The hell? This guy. He claims to be a Pitt alum, and then he just bashes them.
No, I was a Pittsburgh resident. I've never a Pitt alum. I went to a better school.
Oh, so when they cured polio and COVID-19, you didn't go to a better school. You went to a more expensive school.
True.
I heard ipso facto.
No. It's very interesting. All right, let's get back to the phones. Let's go to Philly in Philly. Philly in Philly, what's up?
Hey, Pat, what's going on? What's going on, boys?
Just hanging out. How are you?
I'm doing great. Just driving right now. I know I'm not supposed to be out, but, the COVID didn't get us yet down here in Philly, so just out there. I'm just out here driving. I kind of have a three-parter for you, if that's okay.
No, it's not okay, Philly in Philly. How about the super special State of the Show Town Hall Feel Good Friday phone extravaganza day? Do you have any respect for that in Philadelphia? Of course you don't. Philadelphia has no respect for anything. They have no respect for holidays. You threw batteries at Santa Claus. You refuse to celebrate super special State of the Show Town Hall Feel Good Friday phone extravaganza day. Philadelphia has no respect for anything.
You had one job. Listen. This is Philly from South Philly. I don't care about anything that's going on. I don't care about anything that's going on in the Midwest right now.
Okay.
So here are my three questions.
Okay.
Pats or Geno's?
I'm a Steve D'Alessandro's guy. If you're from Philly, you should know that. Pats and Geno's, stop putting meat on their sandwiches, just like Subway after they ran into the Jared Fogle PR crisis.
Mwah, mwah. You're 1 for 1 right now. Then I also need you to rank your favorite wrestlers with WrestleMania coming up this weekend.
Okay, we will do that.
This is a big one.
We will do that. We will do that. Okay, thank you, Philly and Philly. I want to let you know, don't normally be this nice to callers, especially somebody who won't celebrate it. But I felt like with Philadelphia, there's a little bit of an attitude, potential, a little bit of electricity coming from the call. Philly, we appreciate you. Anything else?
Oh, yeah. The last one is, how are we feeling about the Great Awakening that could go down this weekend? QAnon is coming.
No.
Cut him off. No. Philly and Philly. What was he said he's Philly and South Philly?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right, so Philly and Philly, he refused to. That's Philadelphia, though.
Yeah.
That's Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Philadelphia is a loyal city to Philadelphia. Anything outside of that, we don't give a damn. Will we celebrate your little super special State of the Show Town Hall Feel Good Friday phone extravaganza day? Nah. Nah. He tried to set me up with the Pats or Geno's question if he's from Philadelphia. I ain't no fool. I ain't no stooge, and I ain't no sellout. I know Philadelphia people hate Pats and Geno's because it's become one big marketing ploy, and they didn't put any steak on their cheesesteaks.
Right. Whiz, no wit.
Yeah, and how about put some meat on there instead of just giving me one little slither of that steakum that you put on there, pal? Give me a little bit more meat. You guys got too famous. So I'm out on Pats and Geno's. I'm here for Steve's and D'Alessandro's. Now, when it comes to ranking your wrestlers, we were supposed to do this 2 weeks ago. So I do have that ready to go if needed. Foxy's going to have to find a video for it. I'm ready for that, Philly and South Philly. And when it comes to Great Awakening, I'm a white person in America. Of course I've heard about it. Every Caucasian in America has a family member or a friend who has dove deep into this QAnon world. And boy, I'll tell you what, Philly and South Philly seem like he's all in. Mm-hmm. I know some others that are all in. I'm pretty pumped to see what happens. Because the things I've been hearing, just like all of us, by the way, if you are a white person in America, you know somebody that is all into this QAnon thing. And I'll tell you what, if you talk to them, get some vitamins up there, you got nothing else to watch, there's nothing live, my conversation with my friends and family that are all in on the QAnon are some of my favorite things during this quarantine. If it happens, boy, this could be wild. And if you don't know what we're talking about, I'm not suggesting you go learn about it because it is a deep wormhole that I don't know if you'll ever get out of. But shout out to Philly and South Philly. Let's do our wrestlers, though. Can we do Philly? Foxy, you got it?
Yep.
Okay, I did this top because Gary Vee asked people to put out their top 3 wrestlers or something like that, which, by the way, I respect and appreciate Gary Vee's fanhood. You can't do top 3 wrestlers of all time because there's different generations, different genres, different eras. You literally cannot do that. So I put together my top 3 from different eras. With WrestleMania coming up this weekend, I couldn't see a better time to do this, actually. Let's start with the Golden Age, which is 1982 through 1993. My top 3. Obviously, Andre the Giant, the Frenchman that used to be able to take down 50 beers a night if he wanted to. He was a spectacle. He sold out every arena he went into. He was really the face of wrestling for a long time. Come see this massive individual who can't fly on planes because it's 4 different seats he takes up. When he sits in a car, the thing almost flips. Andre the Giant, by all accounts, was a gentleman of a soul while being a giant of a man. I wish I could have met him. Andre the Giant's number 1. Then obviously you got to go Hulk Hogan. You know, Hulk Hogan obviously took his vitamins, ripped his shirt, did his entire thing. He was in movies. He beat up Rocky. He's done it all. Hulk Hogan is a guy that's synonymous with the golden age of wrestling. And last but not least, Hard Times. Hard Times. The American Dream. Dusty Rhodes. Everybody on earth has tried to beat Dusty Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes was a massive part of the NXT in the Performance Center and building up new superstars. Obviously, Dusty Rhodes' kid now, Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, has started AEW, its own promotion that is doing very well. Those 3 are my favorite from the Golden Age. Now let's move forward to the new generation. 1993 to 1997. My top 3 are Ric Flair. Woo! You're talking to the Rolex wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing son of a gun. There's a limousine riding, jet flying in there somewhere. I messed that up. Promo in Atlanta from NWA to WCW to WWE. Ric Flair, who's still alive, by the way, very much still alive, still cutting promos, wearing Rolexes, doing his thing. Ric Flair's number 1 for me in the new generation. Then Macho Man Randy Savage is my number 2. Step into a Slim Jim. Ooh, yeah. Coming off the top rope, obviously crashed a Jeep, ended up passing away. Very sad story. His 30 for 30 in WWE documentary is a wild one. Macho Man Randy Savage had a hell of a run there. And then my third favorite in this era is Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid. Mr. WrestleMania is a guy that just, anytime he went out there, he put on an absolute show. I believe it is pretty well talked about that he was living a wild life at the time while doing this. A part of the clique, Shawn Michaels was an absolute legend, which leads into the Attitude Era, which is where I think the WWF took off. This is when it became mainstream. This is when the entire world loved the WWF. This is the Monday Night Wars. This is whenever we were growing up, when it was must-see television. And my top 3 are obviously, number 1, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Whoa. I wear jorts because of the man. Makes me feel good. He's this blue-collar hero. He was once another character, Stunning Steve. Whenever he found Stone Cold Steve Austin, the Texas Rattlesnake, he started housing beers, stunnering everybody, driving beer trucks, raising hell. Stone Cold Steve Austin was must-see television. That's my number 1. And without Stone Cold Steve Austin, you obviously can't say that this guy wasn't potentially the greatest of all time, and that would be The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. You might know him now as the guy on Instagram putting up selfie videos and promoting all of his projects, which are in abundance. You know him from his cheat meals, his incredible exercises, all his clothing lines, everything that he does. The guy's going to be a billionaire if he's not yet already. Mm-hmm. He's an absolute superstar. When he was with the WWF, he started as this guy who wore bright tights, and he was in a Nation of Domination. His dad was obviously a wrestler, but whenever he became The Rock and the Millions and Millions Millions of people were chanting Rocky's name. He had this ability to control the crowd. He was 6'5", athletic, obviously attractive, could do everything in there. He and Stone Cold Steve Austin were a couple in a match made in heaven for WWF that ran through things. And obviously, D-Generation X right alongside of that in the Attitude Era was must-see television. Triple H, genius of a man, obviously put this squad together. They were this crew that was supposed to not listen to any rules. They were walking around telling everybody to suck it. China was doing it. X-Pac, Badass, Billy Gunn, Road Dogg, Jesse James, HBK, Shawn Michaels, and Triple H. It was must-see television. They took a tank into a WCW venue. I mean, that's a moment that we'll never, ever, ever forget. Then let's go to the Ruthless Aggression Era. Shortly after that, 2002 to 2008. John Cena. A lot of people say he's the greatest wrestler of all time. Ty, would you agree?
Yeah, him or Chris Benoit. I'm a big Benoit guy. What can I say?
Can you dump that? I don't think.
Why can't you say that?
I don't think you can say that. I just don't. I don't.
Why not?
I don't. Yeah, there was something that happened there towards the end. Everybody's kind of conflicted on whether.
Artist. Separate.
Respect.
Ruthless Aggression Era. John Cena, number one. Then Evolution. The faction Evolution, which was Triple H, Randy Orton, Batista, and Ric Flair. They carried a lot of stuff there. And then Kurt Angle, obviously, was really coming into his prime. You know, dress up, all the gimmicks. He was doing shooting star presses. Everything he did was just next level. What's up, Z?
You suck.
You suck. You suck. And he'd walk out and do this when people change. We saw Kurt Angle on a flight sitting right next to us. He has mastered the ability to pass out on a plane. Guy got 45 neck surgeries, is still a legend, still an OG. And he won a gold medal with a broken freaking neck. Let's move forward to the modern era, which is 2008 to the present, which is the biggest era, by the way. That's just 12 years. Randy Orton has been an absolute showstopper. He goes from Evolution to being his own guy. He's attractive. He can do everything. And he's actually hilarious of a human. A lot of people talk about if he tried his hardest, he would be the greatest superstar of all time. I am a big Randy Orton fan. Then obviously Brock Lesnar comes immediately after. Both those guys are from OVW, by the way, down in Louisville. Rip Rogers coached both of them. Brock Lesnar, still the absolute man, still can do whatever. And he went over to the UFC and just beat the hell out of everybody over there with his big-ass Manitoba mitts. And then he got Cody Rhodes, who I believe is one of the greatest of this era because he created his own promotion and has made a bunch of money. I understand that the Young Jacks and all that stuff are a part of that and everything like that. But Cody Rhodes has taken on this spectacle in of itself that I think anybody would be proud of, especially his dad, Dusty Rhodes. And all time now, my top three wrestlers of all time. Number one, no particular order. Brock Lesnar. Just believable, has been doing it for so long. He and Paul Heyman, incredible duo. When the maestro of the microphone, Paul Heyman, starts speaking and waddling around and Brock Lesnar comes out, as soon as that music hits, you have no clue what's going to happen, but you're glued to the television, which is all that matters. John Cena is number two on my list of the greatest of all time. And then obviously number three, Triple H. The guy has been there, done that through every single era, basically, and has been a massive mind behind it all. I'm happy for all these wrestlers. Can't wait for WrestleMania. I thank them all for their time in the ring and on a microphone and on the road for entertaining us all. Good luck. Hope it gets back to an Attitude Era-like style. The PG era made a lot of money, obviously. They were able to market towards kids, sell a lot of merch as you're looking at a child here wearing some. I mean, it's just kind of the way it has gone. We all hope it gets back to a PG-13 era soon because in our stage, we feel as if we would enjoy that most. But WWE is an international billion-dollar business. They can do whatever they want. Too big for one night this weekend, WrestleMania. 23 minutes after the hour. We have to get to a break. This is the Pat McAfee Show from Indianapolis, Indiana! Cheers. Tua tweeted out a video of him taking a drop, going through a quarterback drill to his right side, taking a couple steps, and then throwing a ball. He said it felt good to get back out there and spin it a little bit. Practicing social distancing here, we're going to throw the long ball. Before we get started, let's talk about what Tua decided to wear for this workout. I believe Trent Dilfer is training Tua. You'll hear him in the video at the beginning. But Tua, if we look at this, has Nike shoes on, Adidas shorts on, and an Adidas shirt on. Okay? That's a sign of trouble in my eyes. That is a sign of trouble. I don't know what we're doing here. We can't be crossing brands up unless we're letting everybody know, hey, although I went to Alabama and I was a Nike guy, I want to let Adidas know I like their shorts, I like their shirts, but I'm not transferring over to the shoes yet unless you guys throw me some coin. But I don't love the initial thought that we are automatically crossing brands out, right? So my first initial thought was, come on, Tua, you're better than that. But whenever you watch this thing play, and you remember this dude has had 4 surgeries in 2 years. His last was of a hip one that retired Bo Jackson, and we're way ahead of schedule here. And you watch this drill, run that thing, Foxy. I mean, here's Trent Dilfer letting him know what we want to see. He's got good grip. Set, go. Drop. Reset, drop, reset, spin it. I mean, he looks. Now, Get Up led off with this morning because it's one of the newest sports that has been released here. But this is a real thing. Tua knew exactly what he was doing when he was putting this out there. And I absolutely am excited for the thought that Tua will be back and ready to go for next year. My thought was always that Tua was going to end up in Miami. He'll sit behind Ryan Fitzpatrick for a year, learn how to do, the NFL basically. It looks like Tua's going to be ready for this season in no time. Maybe he's a little bit thicker than he might have been because he hadn't been able to run and rehab and stuff like that. But I feel like over the next couple weeks here, Tua's about to get dialed in. And the guy that was one of the most accurate passers in college football history looks like he is healthy and ready to go. This is a guy that people are going to move for in the middle of the draft. And I'm happy for him, but we have to ask the question. Why is he wearing Nike shoes with Adidas shorts? Why is he wearing the Adidas shirt? Why not just go ahead and put on some Adidas bottoms and let this thing match and ride out? That's the question I have. But I assume football people won't mind for that. I think they're seeing this video, and it looks he looks balanced. He looks strong, pivoted off that back left hip. I mean, he looks like he's going to be a ball player. You want to fornicate with me? You either get on the train or you're laying on the tracks getting run over. It's their sandbox. You got to play by their rules. But at some point, Goodell has to come out and be like, yo, kick him out of the league. I do not get cramps in my hands when I'm writing checks.
He definitely deserves an apology, and that's my bad on that.
Work-life balance a load of crap.
He's taking a bunch of average Joes.
Some of these younger guys, they're so confident in their ability that they don't think they need any advice.
Like, what are you doing? You don't see the best teams doing that.
It's just finding a way to be better today than you were yesterday. One bad decision can affect the rest of your life.
Come on, Chicago! Let's hug it out, you little bitches!
I would have had Aaron Donald at D tackle. they couldn't even line up and play football.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Our essence is not infinite. Let's make our todays better than our yesterdays, because we truly have no idea if tomorrow will ever come.
Are you hiring but having a tough time finding that perfect candidate? I know how frustrating it can be balancing hiring quickly with finding the right person, but it doesn't have to be with LinkedIn Jobs. Get started today at linkedin.com/Pat, and LinkedIn will match the right talent with your open role fast. LinkedIn has over 675 million members worldwide. LinkedIn Jobs screens candidates with the hard and soft skills you're looking for so you can hire the right person fast. Things like collaboration, creativity, adaptability. LinkedIn looks beyond the work skills and puts your job post in front of qualified candidates every day so it's seen by the people that you want to hire. It's no wonder a person is hired every 8 seconds with LinkedIn, and why companies rated LinkedIn Jobs the #1 hiring platform for delivering quality hires. Find the right person for your business today with LinkedIn Jobs. You can pay what you want and get the first $50 off. Just visit linkedin.com/Pat. Again, that's linkedin.com/Pat to get $50 off your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Great read there, Diggs. YouTube comment section did not love my list of wrestlers. Know your history. This guy, Bobby Shiz, says to me, 3 guys kept their eras alive. Bruno, Hogan, and Austin. That's why Hogan and Austin were 2 of my favorites. Bruno Sammartino from Pittsburgh. I didn't put him in just strictly because, to be honest, his matches were incredibly boring and I hated watching them.
Yeah, how many Bruno Sammartino matches are we watching on TV?
I actually have watched Bruno Sammartino's matches because I do know my history, and I'm going to be honest, it just wasn't for me. I respect what the guy did. He was champion for like 45 years straight or something like that. But Mr. Perfect was a human that I did look up to. I don't know why he didn't make a list. It was a tough list. You only put 3. I mean, what do you want? And The Undertaker not being on any of these lists, I think a lot of people got upset about. But to be honest, his entrance is a lot better than anything else, I think. Now, I like the American Badass coming out on a motorcycle, and I could change all that. And I understand he's a historic name. He's been around a long time. His streak was obviously a good one until he got defeated by Brock Lesnar. I like The Undertaker. I appreciate and respect The Undertaker. Just for me, it's not really my thing. I'm not like an emo goth guy, you know? Hey, just come out here and talk, dude.
Well, and that's why it's tough. He's been like 5 different characters throughout his career, you know?
All good.
Yeah.
All good.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
All great characters. But for me, just didn't make my list. I mean, Rey Mysterio, also a guy that could have potentially made it, but he's still wrestling. And maybe he's the next era. By the way, maybe I'll put Rey Mysterio in the next era. I think these guys are talented. Just you can only pick 3 from entire eras here.
It's your list.
It's my list.
Make your own.
I feel like your lists are going to be stupid now that I'm reading a lot of these people. But, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. Greg the Leg Zerline signed by the Dallas Cowboys. Good for them. OGZ, Greg Zerline, getting signed by the Dallas Cowboys from the Rams. He had a big leg there for a long time. Young Jeezy, Greg the Leg, you name it. The Cowboys, who was kicking for them last year? They had a couple different people, didn't they?
Brett Maher at the start of the year, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
They dropped him.
K Forbath?
Kai.
Kia Forbath?
3 letters are in his name. Let's go to Corey in Colorado. Corey in Colorado, what's going on, pal?
Yeah, not much, Pat. Just wanted to say happy Friday. Happy Feel Good Friday.
He's trying.
He's in Colorado, you know.
He tried.
Whoa, dude, what's going on?
Bro,
What about Colorado?
I just love you. What'd you just say, man?
Dude, the schnozberries taste like schnozberries.
What did you just say?
All right, Pat. Happy Super Special State of
There it is.
Extravaganza.
Hey, Corey, what's going on, man? What do you want to talk about?
Pat, not much, man. I just wanted to ask you, if you came back this year and Indianapolis would not sign you, where would you want to play?
Buccaneers. Next question. Robert, Massachusetts, what's going on? I mean, they're going to win the Super Bowl. I'd like to go down Bucks. And I know all of their coaches in that whole situation. Don't be surprised if they bring in old Adam Vinatieri if he decides to kick another year and see how the old man's doing. He got some things healed up that he hasn't had healed up in the last couple of years. Vinatieri, who is a man who is, I don't want to say spiteful, but he is a guy who would come back with a vengeance and very competitive. If this rehab goes well on that knee and they need a kicker down there, they got a guy that kicks off as a punter position. Look for them to potentially bring in some OGs that are, trying to get another ring. Vinatieri would get his 5th Super Bowl ring if they were to win another one. That's a lot of Super Bowls, man. Let's go to Robert in Massachusetts. Masshole, what's up, dude?
Hey, Pat, how you doing on this amazing, super special state of the show? Town Hall Feel Good Friday, going 7 guys a day.
Bang! Nailed it. What do you want to talk about?
Yeah, a little bit. So we've been talking about Joe Burrow going to Miami as Miami trades up in the draft. But what about the Las Vegas Raiders? Could they potentially trade up in the draft, take Detroit's pick, and take Tua at the 3rd position?
Great question, Robert. What's their draft capital? Going to have to do a lot to get up in there, I think. The Lions, though, have Matty Stafford. They could want to trade out of there. Everybody thinks the Miami Dolphins were going to trade up with the Lions to ensure that they got Tua at 3. The Redskins were trying to sell that they would potentially take Tua at 2 so that the Miami Dolphins would potentially come up and get there. Now it's being said by the Herald, the Miami Herald, that the Miami Dolphins want to get up and get Joe Burrow. So the Dolphins are in the market for a quarterback, even though they have Ryan Fitzpatrick, which doesn't make a lot of sense to us. We just don't know who they're going to take. What is the Raiders' draft capital? They got rid of Amari Cooper. They got rid of Khalil Mack. I'd assume they have some picks that they could potentially move a little bit.
For this year, they have 2 firsts, 3/3, a fourth, and a fifth.
Yeah, so they have enough to move. Anytime you say 2 firsts right there, that seems like one that you could definitely make a move for. Maybe the Raiders and Mike Mayock will move up. Maybe they want to get another quarterback. I don't know if Gruden would want Tua as his guy, though. Remember, Gruden, grinder. Rex Ryan said this morning that his sources are telling him that Tua got 5 surgeries in college instead of the reported 4. Who knows who told Rex Ryan that, and nobody knows what that is. But that's a lot of surgeries. I don't know if John Gruden, Mike Mayock, OG guys in the NFL world are going to roll the dice and give up 2 first-rounders for a quarterback who has a massive question mark, but also a massive upside potentially. Derek Carr is a guy you could sit behind for a year, maybe learn a little bit, or you come in and immediately compete. Speaking of competing, Ryan Pace of the Chicago Bears said their quarterback, Nick Foles, Mitchell Trubisky, is open competition going into next year. I don't love it. I think a team should know who their quarterback's going to be. The quarterback is basically the head coach of the team in the locker room, so you should know who your guy's going to be. This is going to cause a division in the locker room, I'd assume. Mitchell Trubisky, who's been there for a long time, has a lot of friends there. He is going to be a guy who's going to have his own camp. Nick Foles is going to come in, hopefully play well. I assume he'll have a couple guys in his camp. It's a very interesting move, but this is kind of what the Bears have been. Remember, last year they had 14 kickers kick from the same spot while the whole team was watching and accosting them. I mean, the way they've handled things haven't always been the most professional, but if they end up winning games, I think that will all be that matters, I think. I think Nick Foles is a better quarterback than Trubisky, but I think Cam Newton's better than both of them. And that could be completely out of touch. But I feel like if you're going to go with a guy that's potentially injury prone, I would go with a guy that Cam Newton seems to be pissed off about everything. Nick Foles seems to be pretty content with his life. I don't know.
If you weren't sold on him being the starter, why would you pay the money to bring him in?
Nobody knows, man. The Bears.
That makes no sense.
Nobody knows. And the Bears are a storied franchise, great fan base. Could be so good. They're running in an interesting fashion. 35 minutes after the hour, we got to get to a break. Rod Woodson, Hall of Famer, is joining us on the other side. Can't wait to talk to him. Also, some YouTube questions during a commercial break at youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show. 24 minutes until noon.
Oh, no.
You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show. 24 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, we appreciate you so much for watching along. Currently 7,200 people watching. We appreciate you. We know you could be watching a lot of other things, and a lot of other things penetrate your brain, ears, and eyes, but the fact that you let us do that, we're forever thankful. Let's dive deep into the comment section, into a place that's notoriously positive and beautiful for some YouTube questions. YouTube question. You're a little late there, I think.
I was leaning back. I started really far away.
Oh, I got it. Okay, Zito, what do we got, pal?
Nathan Weeder.
Who?
Wieder. Weeder. How badly are the teams with new coaches going to be impacted with the OTAs being canceled, especially with the Browns who when it just doesn't make sense there.
Who, what, where, when?
Who, when OBJ missed OTAs last year, it was evident. He kind of messed up the end, but the beginning, I guess, is.
OBJ was working out by himself, right? He has his own trainer, and the things that aren't mandatory, obviously everybody says, well, it's not mandatory, I don't have to be there. I think OTAs are a massive time for your team to come together. It's where you learn about each other. Now, granted, I know there's no game at the end of the week, so a lot of the OG vets kind of hate it because you're being forced to go to meetings as if there's a game. You already know the offense, you already know the defense, you already know your role, you know everybody. But it's a massive time when your team can come together, whether it's in the cafeteria when you're eating, maybe it's after practice when you guys are running together. You know, things like that happen in moments that you can't get during the season. So I think there are some teams who might have a camaraderie issue if they don't have OTAs. I don't think training camp's long enough for you to really build up that relationship. So look for the places that have a lot of turnover to not have as much success next year as the people that are obviously steadfast. Now, granted, any team that has turnover is normally not going to be as successful as the teams that are already built, but even more so this year without the OTAs in the offseason. I have no idea how guys are going to learn new playbooks. I have no idea how guys are going to meet their teammates. I guess you can do it with Zoom, but it's alleged that Zoom is just feeding people's information to other places that they don't know about. Zoom had a quick rise to the top, and now they're getting shot at up there. They could be taken down. I guess there's something in your settings where you can turn off information being filtered to third parties, which is potentially getting sold so they know everything about you. There's people's dicks in Zoom conferences. I mean, there's a lot happening in Zoom. I would assume that a lot of these guys are utilizing Zoom with their coaches and their teammates. But when it comes to like the Browns or it comes to teams that didn't do great last year, and obviously camaraderie was an issue with the discipline problems and everything like that, I think missing OTAs is going to be a much bigger deal than people think. Training camp is obviously going to be expedited and shorted, and people are going to be trying to either get back in shape, learn the playbook, and they won't have as much time to focus on building up relationships, which is ultimately the number one X factor in whether or not a team is good or great or shitty. So that's a great question, and I appreciate you. That was another trip into the YouTube comment section for YouTube questions. YouTube questions. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here, 41 minutes after the hour. We are being joined now by a Hall of Famer, a man that came back from tearing an ACL in the same season in the Super Bowl. Ladies and gentlemen, legend from the Steelers, Ravens, and Raiders, Rod Woodson.
What's up, Pat? What's happening, man?
Hey, Mr. Woodson, I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. My dad is a massive fan. He'd be losing his mind if he knew that I was talking to you. A couple of the boys in here also from Pittsburgh, massive fans of yours. We thank you so much for joining us, boss man.
Man, it is my pleasure. You know, I'm in quarantine, so outside of my morning walks, you know, I'm trying to fill my days up.
I saw you eating that Packy Reaper chip the other day.
Oh, man, I tell you what.
Tough.
That's no joke.
Yeah, tough. I think you did better than a lot of people would because you're mentally tough and all that stuff. But it does feel as if you're falling into the same line as everybody else, just trying to find time and things to pass the time in the middle of this quarantine.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think what happens, you know, is a really good quote from Helen Keller. You know, what's worse than blindness is a person with vision but no plan. And I think it gives everybody perspective in our lives that what's our plan? What's our plan for ourselves? What's our plan for our families if we do have one? You know, if you're married and whatnot, and children, and what's your plan for the communities? I think in this pandemic, it makes you ponder what's really important in your life. And I think it's about family, friends, and community. And it's kind of sad that we had to get to this point for everybody to realize what's the most important things in their lives. And it's not about possessions, it's not about money, but it is about family. It is about friends. It is about community. And I think that's one of the things that, if anything good has come out of this, it is that we have realized, I think, as a human race, is that we're not invulnerable. We can be harmed, but what's most important to anything that we need to cherish is that our family and friends that we have right now.
Rod, I mean, that was incredibly stated. I had no idea that was coming out there, but you're 100% right. I mean, there are silver linings and everything. And now, granted, some people being forced to hang out with their families becoming a death sentence, I think, by a lot of people. It's become a little bit of a nightmare. There's a lot going on, but we are in tough times. It's hard to see the positive. I think coming together and becoming, a tighter-knit community and family is something that will happen after this. Let's pivot to football in that particular genre of conversation. It is being said that obviously there's not going to be OTAs this year. Training camp is going to be shortened. I just got done talking about how I think an X factor that isn't talked about enough for a team being successful is whether or not the team likes each other and the team is friends with each other and tight with each other and playing for each other as opposed to just alongside each other. I think the OTAs and the summer workouts and training camp are a time to build that bond. Am I wrong in thinking that some teams are going to be worse than we could have imagined without these OTAs in this time to bond due to the quarantine virus or the quarantine of the COVID-19?
Well, I think the biggest thing is it's your leadership, not from your coaches, not from your owner and general manager, but from the players. If you have great leaders, if you have a leader on offense, a leader on defense, a leader on special teams, you have a mature football team who can make corrections on their own, who can patrol the locker room when they're doing right and doing wrong and praise each other and get on each other, those teams are going to be close, no matter if they have an off season or if they don't have an off season. It's the teams that don't have those leaders. You have always question mark. And every time I go to look at teams that struggle year in and year out, I always question who's their leaders. Who's their leader on offense? Who's their leader on defense? Who's their leader on special teams? Do they control the locker room on their own? Do they buy into what the coaches are selling? Do they make it their own? And if they do that, I think they can still have positive seasons. And the teams that don't do that, they're normally going to be younger. They really don't know who's going to be their leader. They don't know if their leader is going to be vocal or is he going to lead by action. You really don't know. And I think, the training, first of all, training camp is not as long as it used to be. I mean, when I played, it was 5 weeks. Now it's about 17 days. So I would think it's going to stay about the same, 16 to 17 days. I think the key that you hit on, though, for some of these young teams and young players coming in is the OTAs, because every player is different. Some players are audio learners, some players are visual learners, some guys are rep guy, and you lose to figure out who they are, and you figure out how to get that information to them. If they're doing, everybody has digital playbooks, but still some guys, including myself, I was a visual guy, so I need to see it on the board so I can ask the coach a lot of questions. And then once I went one step through it in practice, I said, oh, okay, I see how the defense works. There's going to be a lot of guys like that don't get that opportunity, and they might struggle early in the season when the season does start.
Yeah, some people learn by walking through. I mean, there's a reason why all these things happen, and they have been in football for so walkthroughs and then half-speed practice, full-speed, film room. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how the professionals adapt to this. I thought with what you were saying with leaders coming in the locker room, I thought Tom Brady's market was going to be a massive one, him being free agent. Now we're learning that the Titans said no to him, basically. The Niners said no to him. The Colts said no to him. The Panthers said no to him. And the Buccaneers were a place that he had to sell himself, is what they were saying for him going in there. What do the Buccaneers get in getting the greatest of all time, especially in the situation that we're currently in your eyes, Rod?
Well, they're not going to get 30 interceptions. I can tell you that. But I think what they do is that the one thing I love about Bruce is that Bruce lets all his players bring their own uniqueness to the system, and whatever that might be. And I think Tom's going to bring structure. He's going to ask his receivers to do certain things, to run certain routes, to be at a place when he throws that football, and he's going to hold them accountable. And that's the leadership I was just talking about. I think he brings that to the offensive side. I think on defense, they have some players across the board. And so I was there. One of my teams that in 2020, when the season does start, from the NFC side to make the postseason. So they're a good football team. I think Tom is going to be. Is he extremely talented as he was when he first came in? No, but he's been playing 20 years. But I think what you get a guy who understands football. He's seen it all. he has some really good weapons now, where he never really had in New England outside of the 1 year he had Randy Moss, and he threw for 50 touchdowns. So you got to think that having weapons around him is going to help him later in his career, especially moving from the Pats to the Bucs.
Rod, you played in the secondary for 16 years. I mean, that is no easy task. That is where the best athletes on the field are. In your later years, what was the offseason or prep like? Because everybody's saying Tom Brady has lost it. And then we talked to the Tampa Bay quarterback coach, Clyde Christensen. He said, watching film, I did not see that his arm lost any juice at all. To be honest, he was throwing it the exact same way he was whenever he had Randy Moss. He just hasn't had those same type of weapons. When you get later in your career, what did you have to change physically about yourself to maintain that high level in the back end?
Well, I can't definitely, my workouts I'm pretty sure it's completely different than Tom Brady's workout. But I think later in my career, what I had to do, because I used to love to run on the track to keep my speed up, to help me on the football field. Because two things you can't teach. You can't teach size and you can't teach speed. And so I had to curtail my workouts in all season that I wasn't running on the track as much too early, where my legs got burnt out later in the year. So what I did as I got into year, 14, 15, 16, and 17 is that I got on the track later in the off season. And then I didn't run as much on the track as I did before. And I never really was a heavy lifter. Everything was lighter weights, more reps to try to build up more lactic, or not to have the lactic acid, but more red blood cells in my body, so I can have more stamina later in the year. So I did those type of workouts, and I changed that over the course of probably after year 12. I tweaked the workouts and how I was going to practice and train in the off season.
So I need more red blood cells if I can't walk for a damn. I need more red blood cells, Rod?
Well, a lot of people go. They want to go heavy weights. And I always tell guys all the time, I said, you can go out there and lift the gym and be the strongest person in the gym. Does not mean you're going to be the best player. All the great athletes I've ever seen in all sports are long, lean muscles. And they're not the strongest of guys, but they're strong enough. And their muscles they're defined, but they're not bulky. And so I always look for those type of athletes that look like that. And then when you see them, they're really good ones, even across the board, even in today's sports, they're not oversized guys. They're long, lean muscles. They're athletic. They don't get tired in the first quarter or in the fourth quarter like they were in the first quarter. So, I always try to keep that going so that, I would build up lactic acid in my body too fast because I'm a sprinter. I try to find a way to not to do that later in my career.
You're the greatest athlete to ever come out of the state of Indiana. I mean, that is just a factual statement.
I'm honored. Appreciate that.
No problem. Larry Bird. You and Larry Bird are that is a battle.
Well, hey, Larry is pretty good.
And cease and desisted us for the shirt I'm currently wearing. But I love Larry Bird. But Rod, whenever you were at three, storied franchises, Steelers, Ravens, and the Raiders. Steelers next year getting Roethlisberger back. The Ravens, do you think Marshall Yonder retiring and that offense being predicated on the run game and Lamar Jackson, do you think they'll be able to duplicate what they were able to do last year? That seemed to me, that's going to be tough, I think, to be able to do what they did last year, especially with defensive coordinators whose brains are literally to figure out how offenses like that are stopped.
Yeah, it's going to hurt. Yonder retiring, I think, threw a wrinkle on their game plan. I don't know if they saw that coming in the near future. I don't know if they talked about that or not. But the one thing they did do is they got Calais Campbell on the defensive side. You tag Jordan on the defensive side. You re-sign Jimmy Smith. You get Ward, and you get Derek Wolfe. So you brought some pieces to the defensive side, and if defense can keep getting better, then that takes a little pressure off the offense that they have to score 30-some-odd points to win in the football games. I think the main thing for me is can Lamar Jackson keep improving throwing the ball from the pocket? Because we saw in the postseason where he didn't throw the ball well in the pocket, and it cost them. So, I love these athletic quarterbacks. I love these quarterbacks, and I love what Lamar has done so far in his young career in the National Football League. But until somebody shows me that a scrambling running quarterback like Lamar is, and he's a dynamic player, but until they show me that these guys can win Super Bowls, I'm going to keep trying to find these guys, the pocket passers, who can throw the ball from the pocket. Because at the end, you can talk all you want to about Kansas City and the young quarterback that they have, but he can throw the ball from the pocket. And he can throw the ball with the best of them from the pocket. So that's the one thing I want to keep seeing from Lamar. And if he keeps improving, and he improves that again like he did this past year, then they're going to be something to be dealt with.
I completely agree. We have to go to a hard out here for a weekend. Rod Woodson, you're an absolute legend. I can't thank you enough for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, Hall of Famer Rod Woodson.
All right, guys. I appreciate you, Indiana.
We'll be back on Monday. You're the best.
All right, now.
YouTube. We'll be back on Monday. We can't wait for you to hear about our weekends, what we dove into, the storylines we created, the storylines we saw. This afternoon, in about an hour and 5 minutes, AJ Hawk and I will be live right here, youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show with Dr. Drew and a potentially massive wrestling guest. I was in text messages there while Rod was talking to me. Got a pretty large text message there about, hey, would you mind or do you want insert name here? And I was like, yeah, I think so. So potentially massive wrestling guest at 1 o'clock. More conversation, more life, and Dr. Drew, who I guess is a real doctor and is going to give us a lot of answers. We'll talk about that, and we can't wait to see you then. You're the absolute greatest for fucking with us on a daily basis. We hope you're getting through this COVID-19 as best as you possibly can. We will dance monkey dance till we no longer have to dance. This has been the Pat McAfee Show, Friday, April 3rd. The super special State of the Show Town Hall Feel Good Friday Phone Extravaganza Day is officially over. But what a good run it is! Cheers.